welcome to our podcast, Keeping It Real.
You shouldn't feel comfortable right now. And if you do, there's a good chance you don't fully understand what's actually happening.
Yeah, and that's not meant to scare people. It's just the reality. When things feel uncertain globally, but your financial life feels completely normal, there's usually a disconnect there.
Exactly. And I think that's what people are picking on right now. You turn on the news, you hear about global conflict, economic pressure, markets reacting. And even if you don't fully understand it, you feel like something's off.
Yeah, and at the same time, life really doesn't stop. People are still going to work, paying their bills, investing, making financial decisions, almost like everything is business as usual.
Right. And that's where it gets dangerous because when the environment changes, but your behavior doesn't, the gap is where problems start to show up.
Yeah, exactly. People don't realize that financial decisions aren't just about what's happening today. They're about whether what you're doing can actually hold up if something changes. And today we're breaking down what Canadians should actually be doing with their money when things feel uncertain, because right now they do.
Let's start with something simple because I think this is where a lot of people get it wrong. Most people don't actually have a financial plan.
No, they really don't. They have pieces of a plan. They've got investments, maybe some savings, maybe some insurance, but there's no real structure tying everything together.
Exactly. And that's fine when everything is going well because nothing is really testing it. But the moment uncertainty shows up, that's when people start asking questions they've never had to ask before.
Yeah. And those questions get real, like really fast. It goes from, how are my investments doing, to what happens if something goes wrong, or we actually okay if something or if income changes?
And I think that's where the difference between hope and strategy really shows up because a lot of people operate on hope without realizing it.
Yeah, and really hope sounds comforting. It sounds like the market will come back, or we'll be fine, or nothing bad has happened yet. But none of that is actually a plan.
Whereas strategy sounds very different. Strategy says, if this happens, here's what we're going to do. If income changes, we're covered. If market drops, we don't panic because we expected that possibility.
Yeah, and that's a completely different level of thinking. One is reactive and the other one's prepared.
And that's really the shift people need to make right now because uncertainty itself isn't the problem. Exposure is.
Yeah, exactly. So two people can go through the exact same situation and have completely different experiences simply because one is prepared and the other isn't.
And the person who's prepared isn't ignoring what's happening. They're just not controlled by it.
Yes, they're not reacting emotionally. They're responding based on a plan that was built ahead of time.
We've seen this a lot recently. Clients who on paper look like they're doing everything right. Good income, consistent investing, making smart decisions.
Yeah, and then the conversation shifts slightly and you start hearing different questions. It's no longer just about growth, it's about security.
Yeah, they start asking things like, what happens if I lose my job? Or can we access money if we need it? Or even, are we actually protected here?
Yeah, and what's really interesting is a lot of the time they don't know the answers, and that's where the discomfort comes from.
Yeah, because not knowing means you're exposed, whether you realize it or not.
And then on the other side, you have clients who are, structured properly, and it's a completely different conversation.
That's because they've got protection, and most importantly, they actually understand their plan.
Yeah, so when things feel uncertain, they're not panicking. They're just checking in, reassessing, and really continuing forward.
Same environment, same headlines, but completely different emotional responses. And this is where advisors really need to pay attention because right now, clients are watching more than just performance.
Yeah, they're watching how you show up. They're watching how you communicate. They're watching whether you actually lead them through this or just react alongside them.
Exactly. And there's a big difference between telling someone to stay the course and actually explaining why the course exists in the first place.
Yes, clients don't just need reassurance, they need understanding. They need to feel like there's a reason behind what they're doing.
And if you can't provide that, that's where the trust starts to break down. So let's make this really practical for people listening because this is where you can actually take action.
Yeah. And it starts with some simple but important questions. The first one is, do you actually have access to money if something changes?
And not just investments, not just numbers on a statement, real accessible money that you can use without stress or penalty.
And the second question is, do you understand your plan? Not just you have one, but that you actually know how it works.
And third, are you protected if life happens? Because at some point, something will change, whether it's income, health, or the market.
And really, The last one is, who's guiding you? Do you have someone who explains and leads, or someone who just sells and checks in occasionally?
And honestly, if any of those questions feel uncomfortable, that's not a bad thing. It just means there's something to fix. At the end of the day, you don't need to panic about what's happening right now, but you do need to pay attention.
Because moments like this don't just test markets, they test people. And more importantly, they test whether your plan actually works.
And the difference between people who come out of situations like this strong versus stressed usually comes down to one thing, and it's not luck, it's preparation.
So if things feel uncertain right now, don't ignore that feeling. Use it as a signal to ask better questions and make better decisions.
Because the goal isn't to predict what's going to happen. The goal is to be ready no matter what does.
Yeah, and if you can do that, you move from reacting to being in control.
Thank you, everyone. We'll see you on the next one.